Oseo.
Oseo.
Cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na. Cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na. Cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na. Cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na na, cha-cha ni na. Oh, hello! Oh, we're talking about the underworld. We really call it Shinar, the ancient land. And that is where we go to, where we are renewed and refurbished before we come back here. And there we are in the care of old man owl and old woman owl. And the way we show up there is a shenek, like an ant. And his two owls live in the cave underneath the big rock. And on this day, old man owl said, "Old woman owl, I'm going to go hunting down there on that hill that looks like an ant hill." So he flew down there, and he's there on that hill that looks like an ant hill. And he's hearing a sound that sounds like you would say a baby crying. So he looked around, and there's a rabbit burrow, and he reached in there, and he tugged, and he tugged, and he pulled out this little fellow, this little shinnig, laid him out there, and said, "Well, you look kind of skinny in the middle." He said, "I'm going to take you back to old woman owl, see what she's going to do with you." So he picked up the little feller and flew back there to the cave underneath the big rock. Old woman owl said, "Hey, what do you have there anyway? What you going to do with that little feller anyway?" He said, "Well, I'm going to leave him with you, see what you can do with him." So she took him in like that. And they had the rabbit skins from their hunt, and they bundled them up, little rabbit skins, and by the little feller, he learns along pretty fast, start crawling and pretty soon walking. Old man owl made him a little bow and arrow, show him how to shoot. Every time the old man find something to hunt, to catch, then they have a little pot, brewing there in their cave, just ongoing all the time. So he would always, wherever he catch a little mole or a little grasshopper, he'd drop that into the pot like that. On this one day, he caught a snake, and he dropped that snake into the pot like that. And he left, and the little shinnig, he walked up to the pot, and he dipped his finger in that pot, and he tasted that snake soup. As soon as old man owl came back in, he said, "Ah, you're awake. Now you understand. Now you know. So now I have to take you back to where I found you." So he picked up the little shinnig and flew back to the hill that looks like an ant hill, and says, "Well, here's the place where I found you. Somewhere there exists your mother. Somewhere there exists your father. Somewhere there exists your aunts and your uncles. And what you do about it, that's your own affair." And he flew off, leaving me there. What was he saying? That this is where I came from? What did he mean that somewhere there exists my mother, there exists my father, there exists my aunts, there exists my uncles? I was pondering on that, and I just laid right down there in that place where I came from and fell asleep. That's the story up to that point. Okay, good. Explication on that. It's a real place. The place is Winnemucca. Winnemucca, now it's a dry lake. It was a lake. People have been living there for 11,000 years in that one place continuously. Winnemucca is an Arabic name, meaning one moccasins. Indeed, the shape of the lake, it looks the shape of a moccasin. It's parallel to Pyramid Lake, right alongside. And that there is this in my illustration down here, there is a cave underneath the big rock. It's a long, deep cave. And along in the wall, painted there, are these, all in a line. This is called a giving birth pose, gesture. It's painted in indigo blue. I have never come across any cave paintings painted in indigo, and in this sense, it certainly would say we enter in through our recessive natures, meaning it is the sixth color of the spectrum that gives us in there. The archaeologists had explored that cave not too long ago, and the only burial they found was a baby. They found a baby in there, and a lot of baskets. It's a very ancient place. These are my illustration of the two owls, and this is the hill that looks like an anthill that is actually 60 miles south of here, due west of Vivian's house. You can look from her house and you can see this cinder cone. The real name of it is the Succulent Hill, and you can guess what this is, that the little Chinook has come through this channel. This here I have replicated about 100 miles southeast of here is something near Fallon that's called Spirit Cave. In this cave they have found the oldest mummified human in this country here. So they called it Spirit Caveman because that's the name of the cave there. And this individual was interred in an envelope made of tule, things like that. And this was found there with the individual called Spirit Caveman. They dated this, really realized it was found in 1940s, but it wasn't until very recently Amy Dancing at the Carson's Museum dated it 10,000 years, 10,000 years old. I had been involved in all of this as well. So this, you see, this is made out of wood, just like I've replicated it here, with these red stripes on it. So 10,000 years. Here I have made this red striped owl. The name for this is Hinansa Lekliesla Waka. The red striped owl is sacred, Waka. So that name is still from 10,000 years ago. We have that continuation to realize that the attribute of this owl is more than saying a bird. In later times, it seems to become the harbinger of death, but that's kind of erroneous. That the attribute of this is that he has an aerial quality that he can enter into another matrix. In other words, one matrix can go into another without losing the quality of himself, or can be called the infra-specific person. That's how long that we have had all this going. So that's just a reminder of how old our culture and tradition is, and we are working to acquit ourselves of the recent history so that we now can move forward, I'd like to say, to move the boulder of goodness forward.
Oh.
Uh-oh.